Namaste. This is the fourth part in the series Understanding Your Core. I'll post the links to the other three parts in the description box below. In case you have not watched those, please watch that before you watch this fourth part. You will understand this better. And I'll even post a link to a free Enneagram test. In today's video, I'll be talking about how the soul it evolves through various personality types. How do you understand that this soul has reached a level of maturation in its soul evolution cycle? And how does Maya play a person, or how does it play a personality while it is incarnating and experiencing earth life? In my last few videos, I spoke about how from an animal form, the human is born, and in the first few incarnations, the human is still trying to adapt to the Earth's cruel atmosphere, the societal conditions, the various beliefs, the various setups that are there, cultural norms, etc. The person is not mature enough, so the way he looks at the world is the lens of fear. The division between the right and left brain is much higher. All actions are done to gain something or to avoid pain by this person. He's caught up in the lower egoic, the lower three chakras. He looks at life only with an intention to avoid pain or gain something, and he cannot postpone gratification. This person at this level of soul evolution does not have a personality. That is why it comes out as personality disorders. You have many types of personality disorders like narcissism or sociopathy or psychopathy. These people lack a personality. And how do you identify somebody who lacks a personality is when somebody does not have a personality, they look up to somebody around them who has a personality and whom others respect, or whom they see as powerful, or who has the power to influence others. They look up to this person, they watch closely how this person is behaving, what that person is wearing, and they try to copy that person. Because this person does not have his own independent personality, he tries to copy somebody who's influential. That is how this person gets away as a good person in the initial few meetings. When you're meeting somebody with a personality disorder, they can come out as very charming and very good people. It is because they've learned, they've copied the body language and the way a person displays empathy. So they know how to do it. And that is how they come out as very pleasing people in the first few meetings. But later on, they cannot put up the act. When the mask falls away, then you will start realizing that this person has a personality disorder. Even at that stage, they are very cunning and they try to cover up their mistakes by pushing the fault onto the other person. Now, how a person looks like, even the physical appearance, the way he thinks, the way he sees the world, largely depends upon his previous lifetime's karma, the samskaras, the vasanas, that is the karmic tendencies and the mental impressions that he is carrying. Apart from that, the family genetic material influences this person's behavior, the external conditions, and how quickly the soul is evolving is also very important here. For example, if somebody is born on earth in a given location in a kind of family with a personality type and a physical body to help navigate that person's life for this maybe 70 or 80 years on earth, when that person suddenly starts taking interest in spirituality, he starts chanting mantras, or he goes on a pilgrimage, or he starts meditating, reading books, starts changing himself, initially what you will notice is that his body is troubling him. He will start experiencing many different kinds of symptoms which will puzzle him. It could be flus, it could be fever, body pains. He will feel parts of his body vibrating. He will start seeing inner lights. But initially, the process is painful and it may come out or manifest as certain kinds of magical ailments. And the reason why the person experiences these ailments is his body has been designed to work at a particular level of spiritual development. You are moving up spiritually, your body and mind are also upgrading. They're upgrading and they're trying to cope with your new level of vibration. And that is why you will experience many physical, emotional, and psychological problems when you are suddenly evolving spiritually in one lifetime. Because your body was originally not designed for this kind of an activity to happen. Now, the body drops density. When I say density, I mean the psychic debris that is there in various parts of your body that is being dropped off as your vibration level is increasing. Now, I spoke about people with personality disorders and how they look at the world through the lens of fear. So, the difference between somebody with a personality and somebody who has no personality is how you see the external world, how you take in the information, how you store the information in your head, how the various centers of your brain are connected and how they are working together, or how much percentage of your brain is working. When you're evolving, you're opening up more of your brain centers. How you remember things, how you recall things, what are your core fears, your core biases, prejudices, your core desires. All these things, they're very deeply stored in your subconscious mind, and a normal person cannot access the subconscious mind, but the subconscious mind influences the person's behavior in the external world. So unconsciously you're projecting your fears and desires onto the external world. If a person is in a very high fear mode, then the person's personality is not properly developed. How you process your thoughts, your emotions. Are you responding to life or are you reacting to external situations? What your triggers are. Are you a very imaginative person or are you an impulsive person? How do you rearrange that information inside your head? And how do you recall the information after a few years? Are you able to process and look at the information from a state of wisdom? And what is the inner language you use to experience, to remember? How do you relive your memories? And how do you project into the future? All these things have a big impact on how your psychological and spiritual makeup is made. Your personality type 2 decides how your physical appearance will be. I'll speak about this a little later. When your awareness levels are high, when you are responding to life rather than reacting to it, you are a person who is wise. Your approach to life is healthy. You are not looking at the life through the lens of fear, like how a person with a personality disorder would see life. For example, one of my friends, she went to a trip to the Great Himalayan mountain range. And after her return, I asked her how the trip went. This was way back about 15, 20 years ago. She had a very fearing narrative to tell me. She was narrating that the river Tista was very frightening. The great mountain ranges with their narrow roads was very frightening, and she was fearing that any moment the vehicle would slip into the valley and she would get caught up in the current of Tishta River. She advised me not to visit or take this journey to the Himalayan Ghats. I was surprised at her response. But few years later, I visited that very site which she was talking about, and it looked something like this. I was at such peace, the serenity, the beauty. It totally touched my heart. Every moment of my journey was the best moment of my life. And I was surprised as to how my friend could find something so beautiful as something so frightening or something very harrowing in nature. And that is when I realized that she had a personality disorder. Her lens of seeing the external world was through fear. While we are looking at the external world through fear, even the most beautiful experience can be life threatening. When a person is caught up in fear, they are not aware of the surroundings, they are not observing things around them. They are telling themselves fearful stories, and the energy within them is contracting even more. Now they're in the survival mode. The fight and flight mechanism is working through their body very strongly, and they cannot think beyond protecting their life or think beyond the survival mechanism. And when their approach on a daily basis to life is like this, the energy in their body is in a state of contraction. And when the energy in our body is in a high state of contraction, we identify deeply with this physical body. We identify with our beliefs because our mind is telling us something. We think it is real. We identify with our pain, with our fears, with our experiences, and we think that we are this body mind complex. It is only when our awareness expands, we come out of the control of the fight and flight mechanism to some extent, that we are able to observe the external reality, the beauty of how things are connected in the external world. At this point, you will even start noticing synchronicities in your life. You will start seeing you will start seeing numbers, sequences. You will start receiving messages from the universe. When you pose a question, the answer comes in form of a short message in a book, or maybe you will listen to a song and you will understand that your prayers are answered. For a person to reach this level, it simply means that the person's awareness has expanded to a level where now the fight and flight mechanism is not controlling the person as it was controlling a person with somebody with a personality disorder. So, to that extent, you are coming out of the lower egoic chakras, or the lower three chakras, or the lower egoic nature. At this point, you have more tolerance for the unknown. You are not worried or frightened easily. You understand that there are many versions of truth. You are going beyond looking at things as good or bad. The more you are not rooted in duality, the more you are going towards the principle of unity of all things, the more your soul is evolving, and the more you're coming out of your fight and flight mechanism. This is something very positive that you will experience once you're grounded on your spiritual path. Now, the spiritual path is a little different for somebody who's from the other worlds. For example, a person may evolve from his first lifetime to the last incarnation in a human form. But there are certain people who are born from other dimensions. We can call them as star seeds, the many variety of them. For them, the Kundalini process happens much faster because they have come from a higher dimension. The Kundalini process triggers, and the completion of the process is generally faster than how it happens in a normal human uh, evolution process. For example, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa talks about how he comes from another dimension and that he is not a human soul. While he was coming to the dimension of earth, on the way, he asked Vivekananda Swami to join him. They both incarnated on earth as humans and they underwent the Kundalini awakening process. So, when somebody is coming from a different dimension, the process happens much faster because they're already in a very high vibrational state and they already imbibe those qualities which are required for spiritual evolution. So, it happens much faster in them. Apart from that, your genetic material, your lineage, if somebody in your bloodline had a Kundalini awakening, maybe a few generations ago, then the progeny of that person, they their chance of having a Kundalini awakening is much higher because a person who underwent a Kundalini awakening has cleared away the genetic material for the next generations, and so the chances of the next generation having this process triggered in them is much higher. If you think of the earth life as a video game, and each one of us is an avatar in this video game, we are not aware of our core desires or fears that are there in our subconscious mind. We don't know how much of karmic material is there within us. We are operating from a very small state of awareness. We hardly use about 3 to 4% of our brain. The remaining part of our brain is in dark. You are not aware of what is there in it, but the Maya knows what is there within it. So, if you think of the Maya as the video game programmer, then the programmer has total hold over the avatars. It knows each avatar's strength, weaknesses, the core fears, the core desires, the capabilities. All these things are known to the programmer, whereas the avatar has no idea. He has no idea how many lifetimes he's lived. He has no idea what he's supposed to learn. He has no idea he's caught up in a game, playing the game over and over again. And he will be caught up in the game until he learns his life lessons, until he moves away from fear, until he overrides the intelligence of the game. As long as a person is looking at the external reality through the lens of fear, he is trying to create an image about himself to the external reality. And this image is drastically different from the real person that he is. The more inauthentic a person is, the more show he has to put up for the external world. He will have this face for the external world, which displays a lot of desirable qualities and will hide his real face behind this mask. So he lives an inauthentic life. As long as a person is living his life from this mode, Maya can easily play him around because he is not authentic. I will talk about how Maya plays around different types of personalities a little later in this video. When a person starts moving away from putting up acts and he starts moving towards his authenticity, Maya slowly starts losing hold over this person. Because when the person starts moving towards authenticity and he starts looking at the external world not as a threat but as a place where he can learn and grow even from bad situations. When a person is looking at the external world through a lens of fear, the brain looks at the external events as favorable events and unfavorable events. This person will try to take as many opportunities or favorable events and avoid unfavorable events. When the brain is working like this, Maya has total hold over this person. But once when a person is moving away from this kind of thinking, he is moving towards his authenticity. He is not looking at the external world through fear. When he is looking at the external world with an intention to learn, or when he is even looking at his inner thoughts, observing his inner thoughts to learn more about himself, he is living in more awareness now. When he is moving, when he is living in this mode, Maya starts losing hold over this person. As his awareness expands further, he automatically kickstarts the spiritual awakening process in his body. He is qualified for it. And once his awareness has expanded to the level where he understands himself 100% and the external reality totally, now his future incarnations on earth are unnecessary. So now he takes a leap towards the next level in evolution. You have to understand that the external reality, it holds a mirror to your internal desires, your internal fears, your inner mental makeup, emotional makeup. Only that is reflected to you. And it is reflected to you so that you can correct it. So if you see something very frightening outside of you, then instead of worrying about how to control the situation external to you, try to see what within you that the external reality as a mirror it is showing to you. Change that thing within yourself. When you make that change within yourself, your external reality will no longer reflect that fearful situation to you. So the more you are aware, the more you are learning even from the most painful, the most traumatic, the most frightening situations, the more you will understand yourself and external reality and how they work together. You are not disconnected from the external reality. You both are working together, and the external reality is only reflecting your inner essence to you. Please understand that. And once you come out of this dynamic, that is the perpetrator, victim, and the rescuer dynamic, you will see the real beauty of your life. You will see perfection in the external reality, even in the most worst situations. Even if you are placed in a situation which is a war zone, you might see people killing each other on a war zone, but even in that, you will see perfection because there you can see how people are exchanging their karmic debts with each other. You will understand how the entire creation works in such perfect balance that anything you do to other comes back to you. You will be amazed at how creation works. And then you realize there's nothing like injustice or bad or good. All these things are just definitions that we give to the external situation based on our inner mental and emotional makeup. You'll be able to see beyond pain, beyond trauma, beyond fear. You'll be able to see the creation for what it is. And you will understand that any event, no matter how traumatic it may look to you on the surface level, at a deeper level, it is just part of evolution. So when a person is operating from the surface level, he cannot see the depth in the external creation. He will have lot of stories to understand the external realities, and most of these stories are all about pain and pleasure. And the inner mind that is narrating the story will narrate the story based on your inner mental makeup. But once the person has the depth of wisdom, when the person has a depth of wisdom, he is able to see the world for what it is. He's now not getting caught up in shallow stories. He can look into the deepest essence of life. He can understand and he can even learn from the worst situations that he faces, and nothing outside of him will trigger him, or he will not react to the external reality. He is in acceptance of whatever that happens within him and in the external reality, because he understands there's a plan that is beyond our understanding operating, and everything that happens in the external world happens for a reason. There's no need to interfere with it or change it. For a person to reach this level, he must have been very highly spiritually evolved. All anger, all misery, all pain, all desires stem from the need to control. The need to control the external reality based on what we think is right or wrong, or the need to control ourselves, or because you're not able to control ourselves, the need to control our thoughts, our emotions. Spirituality is not about controlling, it is about surrendering. Surrendering our emotions, our thoughts, our beliefs to a higher power. And when we are doing this, we are gaining power. As we gain power, a sense of discretion, a sense of direction, a detachment towards the external events increases. And this further propels our spiritual evolution. This is one of the hymns in Shiva Sutra. Chidvatta Chekti Sankochan Malavritta Samsari. That which is full of consciousness due to contraction of its powers becomes a transmigratory soul covered by impurities. I spoke about the malas or impurities, that is the Anuva mala, the Maya mala, and the Karma mala. So when the consciousness it contracts, when it contracts, it goes into a state of fear, intense fear. It is ruled by desires. It is ruled by motives. It is ruled by the flight and fight mechanism. The karmic debris, it holds power over this soul, and the soul is caught up in the cycles of life and death. When the consciousness contracts in a person, the person starts identifying with the body. He thinks he is the body. He thinks he is the thoughts, the emotions. He identifies with the stories that run in his mind. He limits his experience to the physical body and the mind. And he thinks the external reality is the only reality, and this reality is really real. There's nothing beyond this reality. And he has to be prepared to deal with the external cruel world, and the fight and flight mechanism is constantly triggered in this person's body. He is living from his lower three chakras. Our brain is divided into three sections, that is the lower reptilian brain, the middle limbic brain, and the upper cortical brain. So this person in whom fear dominates, he is using mostly his reptilian brain and the limbic brain. The cortical brain is used when we are planning or being creative or organizing things. So we hardly use it. When somebody is in fear, they lose connection to the upper cortical brain. That is why when somebody has fears of exam and they sit in the examination hall and are writing a subject like mathematics where you need to use your upper brain, fear shuts down the connections between the lower brain and upper brain, and the person forgets all his formulas. He is unable to solve simple mathematical problems. That is how bad fear is. And when a person is ruled by fear, he has personality disorders. Somebody with a personality disorder always looks at the world through the through their own biases, through their judgments. They see everything as good and bad, right and wrong, evil or godly. They're so self-absorbed, they're so selfish that they cannot think of another person, even their own kids. They're caught up in the cycles of life and death. They have karmic baggage. They're totally under the control of Maya. Their breathing pattern, they breathe faster and they breathe into their chest area. A normal person breathes about 10 to 12 times a minute. All the energy that is there in his body is channeled towards protecting himself from the external threatening situations. A lot of psychic debris is built up in his body. The body and mind are fixed to think in a particular way, especially when somebody is developing a personality over many lifetimes. What happens is their patterns of thinking, the way their mind works, the way their emotions work, are they ruled by their instincts, or are they ruled by their imaginations, or by their emotions, or by thoughts? All these things, they channel the energy in their body into fixed energy patterns, or they create psychic debris which gets lodged in various parts of the body. And this psychic debris later on becomes blocks when the Kundalini is rising. This person is reacting to life, he is not learning from life. He's so caught up in the idea of protecting himself that he is very fearful, and he can even go to the extent of damaging another person or the property of another person, and he will feel little to no remorse for it. So he is cut off from higher emotions or higher spiritual states. He cannot see the bigger picture. He cannot see the fact that he is connected to many people around him. He cannot connect at a heart level to another person or to the divine. He is in a very high competitive mode. And the way they look at life is through the filter of their ideas, their desires, their dysfunctional beliefs, dysfunctional behavioral patterns. All of this holds their energy in fixed patterns. It does not allow them to adapt, learn, and evolve further. This is another Shiva Sutra. Tat parigyane chittam eva antarmukhi bhavena chetana padajjaro hajasatihi. When one is fully be aware of that, what is that? That is the fact that he is the creator, sustainer, and dissolver of his own reality. So when one is fully aware of that, the mind itself becomes consciousness by rising to the state of full expansion through inward facing contemplation. So once somebody is on the path of self inquiry, they are trying to understand life, trying to understand their existence, their thoughts, their emotions. They start responding to life rather than reacting to it through fear. When the personality has reached a level of maturation, automatically it triggers spiritual evolution. Once Kundalini Shakti reaches the Agya chakra, this is the structure of Agya chakra, and in the upper part of the Agya chakra, you can see a bindu visarga. Visarga is that crescent moon shaped object, and on top of it, you have the point called bindu. So, once Kundalini Shakti reaches that point that is there at the top of the Agya chakra, that is the zero dimension. That is a point from which this entire creation has emanated. Once your consciousness expands to the extent that the Kundalini Shakti rises to that point, and Kundalini Shakti enters that point, then the entire external third dimensional reality will disappear for you. You are now at the zero point. This is called the bindu, the void, the great shunya. When Kundalini Shakti enters the point, then the external third dimensional reality falls away from your experience. You are now in the great void, the shunya. As long as Kundalini Shakti is in the shunya, you are at the zero point of creation. That is the zero dimension. That is the point from which the entire creation has emanated. And when you are within that point, the creation is not there in existence for you. Once Kundalini Shakti comes out of that point and lodges itself there in the Agya chakra, again the external reality will come into your experience. So, where is this external reality? It is within you. And when you move into higher states of consciousness, the external reality falls away from your experience as you move into higher states of samadhi. This hymn exactly says that when one is fully aware of that, what I mean by that is this experience which I just mentioned to you, that the entire creation has come from me and it collapses into me. When you are aware of that, the mind itself becomes consciousness. So here the mind, which was constantly chattering, which was constantly talking, and which you identified yourself with when you were in your lower egoic state, this mind now becomes consciousness. It is experienced differently. The more your consciousness expands, the more your awareness expands, the more you experience the width of this creation. You understand that you are not limited to this physical body or to one point in this creation. Rather, you are the creation. So when your consciousness moves up into the higher states of samadhi, you will experience yourself as being one with the entire creation. And this starts with inward facing contemplation. That is, when you look inwards rather than focusing your energy into the external reality, you focus your energy, you turn it inwards, use your detachment and discretion, and you go on to the path of self inquiry or some other spiritual methods. That is when you realize your potential not just as a human being but as consciousness, which is all pervasive. So when we are in this state of expansion, that is, we have moved away from the fight and flight mechanism, instead of reacting to the external situations, instead of getting caught up in our stories of what is happening outside, instead of living from our memories, or instead of living under the control of the fight and flight mechanism, we are now stopping to see our faults. We are trying to understand how wrong our perception is towards the reality and how we are caught up in the loops, that is behavioral loops or thought loops or the karmic loops, because of our limited thinking. When we understand that, we start looking at external experiences as learning opportunities. When we move into that mode, that shift happens. There is a shift that is happening within your body. Now you will start experiencing energetic movements and vibrations in your body, because now you're moving away from fear. The pranic force starts rising upwards. You will experience chakras rotating at chakra points. You can feel energy moving through your hands and legs. Your brain structure, cellular structure, nervous connection structures, all these internal changes are happening. Hormonal changes are happening. You will experience more power running through your system. Sometimes it feels like prana moving through it, or sometimes at higher levels it can feel like electrical sensations running through your body. You have more uh, visions. You'll start seeing lights. You'll have kriyas. Any system has a natural process of evolution. That is, it moves from a chaotic state to a state of order and organization. So when somebody has a personality disorder, it is a state of chaos. So over many lifetimes, the energy in the system, it transforms the individual into a state of order or organization, and it pushes the person to develop into a personality type. So when somebody with a personality disorder is moving towards a, evolving into a particular personality type, he is moving from the state of chaos to a state of a kind of order or a kind of organization. When this change is happening in this person's body, the energy is getting utilized in creating that order or that organization in that person's personality. So this will help that person to get fixed in a certain type of behavior, certain type of thinking, the certain type of desires and fears. And that person is caught up in these loops. And the more he expends his energy in that being that personality, the stronger and the more fixed those loops of behavior, thoughts, fears, desires, they make him a very fixed person. He's so fixed that he is no longer flexible. And even in future incarnations, he is born with the same kind of personality. When kriyas happen and when the energy is moving through a body, what is happening is this energy which helped to create a personality for us, now it has served its purpose. As long as you are trapped in this scope of personality, you cannot evolve. Now, this energy that is moving through your system, which is trying to clear blocks through your system, it is trying to remove away the structures of personality which are there deeply rooted within your system. So our personality over many lifetimes gets deeply rooted within us. It becomes a part of our bone structure, our muscular structure. It becomes a part of our inner mental makeup, psychological makeup, emotional makeup. And this creates a lot of psychic debris, psychic blocks within our system. And it makes our bone stiff. It makes our body stiff. Especially for people who have undergone a lot of stress in life, they can feel that tension in their muscles. Muscles are clenched tight. This is all because of that personality that is ingrained into our system. If I belong to a particular personality type, say for example, I'm type 6 or type 7, whatever personality I might be, that personality is ingrained deep into our psyche and deep into our body to the level of your bone structure also. The energy that is now moving through your body, that is the pranic force, it starts clearing away this structures. It starts loosening, it starts untying blocks. And when the energy is clearing away the structures of your personality, you will experience this as kriyas. The more you come out of the personality, the less you will react to the external world. You will become more aware of your core desires, your core fears, and now you have more power to come out of those core desires and core fears. So now your fears or your desires will not rule you. The more the fixed structures are opened and the blocks are cleared, the more light fills your body. When light fills your body, your vibration level increases. When all this happens, at a particular level, your breathing pattern changes. Now you start breathing more deeply into your belly and you breathe fewer times in a minute, maybe 4 or 6, maybe about 4 to 6 times in a minute. The more your breathing per minute comes down, the more your awareness expands. You start noticing synchronicities, signs, the messages coming in from the universe. You understand that there's a mission, a higher purpose for your life. You come out of all your older dysfunctional belief systems. Unnecessary relationships fall away from your life. Now You're using your energy and your time more wisely. You no longer identify with the body or with your mind. So earlier, whatever your mind told you, that voice which was constantly chattering inside and telling you to do this and telling you to do that, earlier you used to identify with that voice. Now that voice, you don't identify with it anymore. So it goes into the background and slowly it fades away. That is, once Kundalini Shakti reaches the Agya chakra, that is the upper part. See, the upper part is this part where you have this crescent moon shaped visarga and that dot bindu. So when it reaches that part, what happens is you come out of the chattering mind. You have this inner quietness which can go on for hours together with maybe hardly one or two lines of thoughts entering your mind. You reach that stage. The more your inner mind quietens, the higher your vibration is. At this point, you will have out of body experiences, you will have bliss states, you will experience samadhi states, you will feel oneness with the universe, or you will download a lot of information from the universe, you will gain siddhis. This happens at a very high level of vibration, or even go beyond vibration at this state. And then at last you will see the entire universe as a part of the self. You will realize the entire universe is just within you, or you are the universe. When you come back into the body, you realize that there's a unity in the creation and that you were never separated. All the separation was because your energy was contracted to the extent where you identified with a body. You thought you were a limited being. You were this body, this mind. And because of this ignorance that you took on, you were caught up in these cycles of life and death. Now that you know more, you are more aware. The more you are aware, the more your consciousness expands, and the more your consciousness expands, the more you know. So this rising energy, it starts moving through your system. It starts removing all the blocks. It starts removing all the structures related to your personality type. And by the time it completely clears away your psychic uh, centers, you are now moving away from your personality. Your personality is like a boat. You need it when you have to cross a lake. But once you cross the lake, you no longer need that boat. So the personality too helps you to reach to a point. Beyond that point, it becomes a hindrance. Rather, it binds you down. So this personality structure has to now it has to be removed. So now you don't belong to any personality type. You are neither personality 2 or neither personality 4. After a point, you are pure consciousness. How you think, how you see the world, how you imagine the world in your head, everything comes from your personality. So Kundalini Shakti starts clearing away all the structures, all this ignorance from your system. And once she reaches the upper part of Agya Chakra, you will have come out of your personality. Your personality is what keeps you trapped in memories, in experiences. It keeps you trapped in the past and in the future. Once you come out of your personality, now you're living life from your present moment. As long as you're living life from values and the present moment, you're no longer under the control of your personality. When a person lives in fear, the ego is in control of his life. The ego is driving the car of his life. What is this ego? Is this actually there? Is it a structure which is there in the body? As I said earlier, when a person is living life through fear, the body, the muscles, every part of the body is in a state of contraction because it is ruled by fear. When the body and the mind is under the influence of fear, it is in a state of contraction. When the energy in a person's body is in the state of contraction, the person identifies more with the physical body and with the mind, that is the thoughts, emotions, memories, etc. Now there is something like an entity, you could say, which is reacting to the external events. We'll call this the ego. This is getting triggered by what is happening in the external reality. It gets triggered by fear, by pain, by trauma, but through memories. It even gets triggered by inner emotional states and our inner emotional thoughts. It even gets triggered when we are reliving our painful moments. So, this ego or this entity, if you think of it as an entity, and if we think it is there, it is an artificial thing within us. This keeps us trapped in the lower three chakras. And as long as this is active and as long as this is driving our life, we live our life reacting to what is happening outside of us. We react angrily, we react in pain, we react in fear, we react in terror. We even react to our own memories, to our own thoughts. And all this creates further contraction of our energy. Typically, what is happening here is the contraction is causing contraction at various levels in your body. That is, at the physical level, your muscles, your bones, the various organs in your body, the cellular structures in your body, the nervous structures in your body, your brain matter. Everything is in a state of contraction. When everything is in a state of contraction, this structure, which is the ego, is actively running your life. But once prana starts moving up your various channels, psychic channels, and it starts clearing away these blockages, the energy starts expanding, your consciousness starts expanding. After you reach a certain point, you will realize that this entity which was there in you, which was your reaction to external triggers, that is not there anymore within you. And you're surprised where this structure has vanished. This ego structure is not there running your life anymore. Until now, your ego structure was in the front seat driving the car, whereas you were in the back seat totally out of control. You could not control your life because your ego was constantly reacting to the external reality. Suddenly, you see that you are in the front seat of the car, the driver's seat, and your ego is in the back seat. What exactly is happening here is the upward flowing energy is removing all the blockages. It is opening you up. And as your consciousness is expanding, the tension in your muscles, in your bones, the density that was there in your body is now dropping away. As tension is getting released from various parts of your body, channels are opening up, energy is flowing through. This false structure, the ego which was there, it was there because it was a result of the contraction of your energy, or which was a result of the contraction of your body or mind. That is no longer there because your energy has expanded. So now there is no ego structure within you that reacts angrily to external events or There is no ego structure within you that angrily reacts to your inner thoughts or when you're reliving your painful moments. So when the system totally opens up, your ego is in the back seat. It is no longer controlling you. Your body is totally relaxed. All the tension or the tough structures, that dense structures in your body are removed. Your bones become flexible. Your body is more softer than earlier. You can feel the energy even moving through your bones, bone marrow also. So the energy is permeated through all the cellular structures at this point. And because of that, this false structure which you experienced as the ego has fallen away. Now you no longer react angrily or get triggered by external events or that which happens within you. As long as you are identified as a personality, the ego had a way of triggering you or keeping you in that personality loop. Now that your energy field has opened up, you do not experience life through the lens of fear. You're more open energy wise. So, the earlier person who you were reacting to life, living life through your ego, is now washed away. In that place, now you have a new you that lives life responding through higher knowledge, through love, through peace, through empathy, and from a greater depth of understanding. So, this ego is a structure which is generated within our system when we are living life in a state of contraction. But once we move into a state of expansion, this ego structure is dropped away. That is when you realize that this ego was never there. It was just the net result of the contraction of your consciousness. Further, this energy that is moving up, it aligns your skeletal structure. Nobody has a perfect skeletal structure. When Kundalini is rising through the spinal cord, the alignment of the spinal cord should be perfect. So the energy that is moving up the system, it not only cleanses your system, it even aligns your skeletal structure so that increased energy can flow through it. And when increased energy flows through it and all blockages are removed, your energy will further expand and your Kundalini Shakti can easily reach the upper chakras. You move out of the lower three chakras. Please take the Enneagram test to understand which personality type you are. Sometimes the demarcation between these various personality types is not fixed. So one can be type 1 with certain traits of type 9 and certain traits of type 2. Or generally, people who belong to 9, they may misidentify themselves as belonging to 2 or 5 or 6 or 7 because 9 generally has a mix of all the personality types traits. Sometimes even the type 5, 6, 7, 2, they think that they're type 9. When you understand your personality type, you will know how Maya plays you. Every personality type has different set of fears, desires, triggers. They have certain traits which can be of lower egoic nature and certain evolved traits too. So this personality gets developed over many lifetimes, and at the end, that is when you have reached the culmination of all the many lifetimes that you've gone through, the personality becomes fixed in your body. After Kundalini starts cleansing your body, you experience Kriyas while the various fixed patterns of personality from your body are being cleansed out by the Kundalini prana flowing upwards. The personality, which is now perfect, which has a lot of sattvic qualities in it, now this personality is put into the Kundalini fire. When you do A yajna. A yajna is where you offer certain things valuable to the fire. You do that because you're offering something perfect to God and you have no intention to keep it to yourself. In the same way, the perfected personality is put into the fire of Kundalini. The Kundalini burns up your personality. Now you come out of this game of life and death. You become a perfected soul and you live for a higher purpose. Now I will talk about different personalities, what their core fears are, what their core desires are, what is the spiritual path they should take up to progress, what are the kind of affirmations they need in a daily life. I'll go through each personality type. In case you have the traits of two different personality types, then please check those two personality types to see what fits your description. Type 2 to type 4, they are very emotional. They're heart based. Their only concern or fear in life is others should not reject them. They want others to treat them specially. They want to be loved. They want to be honored. They want to be respected, seen as something different and valuable by others around them. They are very emotional. The main thing that they have to deal with in an awakening is clearing away these heavy, dense emotions that they hold. All the dramas in their life revolves around getting rejected by people or them rejecting others. Each of these personality types experiences this fear differently. Type 5 to type 7, they have a lot of fear stored in them. Generally, this fear is expressed differently, and this is basically survival fear. These are the head based people, that is, they think a lot, they're constantly chattering inside. They find it difficult to overcome this huge amount of thoughts that run their mind, and most of these thoughts keep them in the state of fear. Each of these types expresses fear differently. Then comes type 8 to type 1. These people are ruled by instincts. They don't think through, rather, they act through aggression. And these types, they express aggression differently. I will start with type 2, helper, caretaker. As the name suggests, these people feel happy when they're helping others. They're generous in their acts. They genuinely want to help others and take care of others. It makes them happy. But they have a secret desire that others should see them as special because they are being so nice to them. When others do not appreciate their efforts, they can go into a rage. So their act of giving is also conditional. And they do this because they fear that if they're of no value to another person, they will get rejected. So all the dramas in their life, they revolve around this fear. Because of their ability to give others, to help others genuinely, these people attract a lot of narcissists into their life. People who do not appreciate them. So how does Maya play with these type of people? Because this person is seeking appreciation from other, Maya will send such people into their life who do not appreciate type 2's efforts. In fact, no matter how much they do for them, in return, these people only criticize them. They use them and they ill treat them. They can even get abused by narcissists. This will go on till type 2 understands that there is no need for her or for him to put their needs aside and go out of the way to help somebody else. They're doing this just because they want to be seen as a nice person or they fear rejection. When they overcome this fear of rejection and they do not put in any effort to please another person, then Maya cannot play them anymore. If you think of all the people as avatars in a video game, the Maya is the game programmer. She knows your drawbacks, she knows your weaknesses. You are not aware of your core desires or your core fears because all this information is locked in your subconscious mind. But Maya can see it, she can see through you. She is just showing you your faults. So, if a type 2 person attracts a narcissist into their life and they get abused all their life by the narcissist and they're not able to remove the narcissist from their life because they fear getting rejected by the narcissist, the Maya is just showing through these experiences to type 2 that she has to overcome this fear, that she has to take care of herself and then take care of somebody else. The type 2 people, they're always trying to define love. For them, love is the most important thing in life. These are the types who think that there's somebody born for them, some twin flame or a soulmate, and one day this person will come into their life. These people have a huge need for intimacy and they seek the perfect partner and they try to define the external reality through love. They have a certain view or perception about love, and when the other person's perception of love does not fit with their perception of love, they do not see it as love. They don't understand that love can be expressed differently by different personality types. They are not aware of it. They have a very limited definition for love. So, transformational thought is a thought which occurs to a person when he becomes wiser in life. If that thought would come to him much earlier, his life game itself would have been different. He would have been more mature in handling life. So, after a lot of ups and downs, the type 2 realizes that love is there in life, but it is beyond the limits of their understanding, that they need to widen their perspective about how love is expressed by different people. Because they have this narrow view on love, they think that the false love shown by narcissists is real, and they get into a lot of bad relationships. They have to learn to be assertive to grow. Ego in type 2 manifests in the form of pride. They think that they are doing things. So when they do something, they go on telling others that I did it, I did it. So the affirmation for type 2 is that I am not the doer. When he, when the type 2 person is doing an act by affirming the fact that he or she is not the doer, they are not tied down by their acts. And because of that, they will not take any karma. The trait that they have to learn is humility. That is, do not show off just because you are helping somebody else. When they are evolved, they develop these traits of universal love and selfless service. And because doing service to others comes naturally to them, they can evolve faster when they do selfless service, when they join some communities which are helping others. They grow faster when they do that. They come out of this act of being the doer. Rather, they see themselves as an instrument through which good acts are happening. Type 3 Enneagram Achiever Performer. Here, the fear of rejection takes a different form. It is seen as a fear of failure. These are the people who want to be in the spotlight. They want to be the most successful person. They want to be on the stage performing certain acts. They want to be rich. they want to be beautiful, they want to be influential, they want to be powerful. Why? When they are like that, people will see them, people will accept them. What does an artist want? The artist wants praise. The artist, he practices, he works hard, he creates a beautiful art, and all this just for some appreciation, just for some praise from others around him. When that praise does not come in, the artist is heartbroken. So, when the praise does not come in, the artist sees himself as being inherently lacking value. Type 3 is like that. That is their nature. They will do anything to be in the limelight. They can compromise on their values. They even boast about their qualifications. I'm talking about the lower egoic qualities of type 3. They can fake being rich, being very charismatic, being very talented. All this because they don't want to come out as being as a loser in the society. They want everybody to treat them specially. The transformational thought for this person is that their value does not depend upon their success. In fact, the more they value success, the more they will attract a lot of negative people into their life who will exploit them and trouble them or put them onto the wrong path. In their greed for quick recognition, they might lose out on understanding the depth of their own soul. So, the action for these people is to understand that they're vulnerable. They should not fake creativity, rather, they should develop a strong base of creativity. If the person is an actor, they should join an acting school, work hard, put in effort, and try to rise up the ladder of fame slowly and steadily. They should learn to cooperate with others because these people are in constant competition. They want all the limelight onto themselves. They are always in conflict with others. They want to take all the credit. So they should learn to give credit to others too. And they should not take themselves seriously. They can't take a joke when it is on them. They should be able to laugh at themselves, their own drawbacks. They should connect with their heart for more authenticity. So the affirmation for type 3 is my value does not depend on my success. They need authenticity in their life. These type 3 people who wanted to be the center of attraction of their life, who yearned for it, crave for it, when they lose interest in this desire, they may go and sit somewhere separately from others. They might live incognito because this desire is too much to handle. So they try to cut themselves away from the media, they stay away from everybody else, and they stay away from the limelight. They shine so bright because of their inherent talent that people will flock to see them. In their path of growth, it is very important that these people learn to give to others and maintain anonymity. They should not take the credit for helping others or doing something for others because that is how Maya plays them. They should learn to be a little kinder to themselves and to others. They must be able to assess themselves, understand themselves, and accept that they need not be famous to be of value because their value inherently comes from them and it does not depend on whether others reject them or others accept them. They have to come out of that mindset. An artist lives for claps, for appreciation from others. Now, this artist has to learn to play the art of life without expecting appreciation, without expecting any claps from others around him. When he does this, he is living truly from his heart. Enneagram type 4, individualist, tragic, romantic. In our earlier movies, we had this character who was eccentric, dressed a little differently. He was enveloped in this curtain of pain, suffering. He always thought that nobody understood him and that he was special and others could not see that in him. This is the typical profile of type 4. They think they are special, and for that reason, they want others to take notice of their specialty. They see others as ordinary. So they have this sense of being elite. They don't like it when others cut them away from their life or others abandon them or they don't see them as something special. The fear of rejection, as I spoke earlier, in them operates in this way, where they think that they're so special that others should take notice of it and others should worship them. They think there's something inherently wrong with them. They think that they're not good enough. And to cover up that, they want others to see them as something special or they want the external world to see them as good. They are prone to a lot of drama. They get triggered easily when they're in the lower egoic states. They think that they are these eternal sufferers, the martyrs. They have more value for things they have lost rather than things which they hold. For example, a type 4 person can mourn the loss of a lover all his life or all her life. They'll think of that lost lover and how great that relationship was. They can't get over it. They think that the grass is greener on the other side. They think they will be happy when they have a lot of money. And when they have a lot of money and they see a poor person smiling, they think that they will be happy when they're able to smile like that poor person. These people always think that the next person is happier than them, and they are always the sufferers. They have to understand that happiness is something that is cultivated from inside. And this need to be unique, to be different from others, is the cause of all their problems in life. The affirmation for type 4 is firstly, they should learn to be happy. Understand that happiness is an internal state. And they have to accept themselves for what they are. So the affirmation is, I am okay and others are okay too. Because they have a tendency of seeing themselves as something special and others as being ordinary. The drama that they experience in life and relationships stems from this core belief, which is there inside, which is causing a lot of uh, nonsense in their relationships. They have to learn to be content. They can maybe much later in life try not to shop, be happy with what they have. That is one way of learning that they can be content with what is there in their hand rather than run around things which are not there in their possession. They should show gratitude. So it is a good thing if they can say thank you at least for 10 different occasions in a day for to 10 different people. If they find reasons to say thank you to another person or to God, that will help them grow. When they evolve, they become a creative expression of God. A lot of arts flow through them and they experience oneness. Now that need to be special is gone. They feel one with everybody. They see God in themselves and around them. So there's no need to be special here now. The path for them can be to give up things, donate, so that they're not tied with material possessions. Seek to be in a content place. Stay away from unnecessary lifestyle competitions where I buy a car, then another person is buying a car. I see that now I want that car, Or when I see my friend buying something very costly or expensive, now I want to be seen as special, so I have to buy it. They should come out of this unnecessary competition. They have to learn to be present in the moment. They have to engage in physical activities, deal with their inner emotions, channeling them through arts, meditate. These are the growth paths for type 4. Now, all these types, that is 2, 3, and 4, they are past oriented. That is, they are caught up in the drama that has occurred in the past. They relive those moments again and again. They think over the past again and again. They brood over it. They get triggered by it. Even in the present moment, they are living in their past memories. And all this because they care about their self image. They want to project an image to the external world that they are very lovable, that they're very special, that they're very nice people. And they fear rejection from the external world. As long as the gap between the real you and the image that you have projected to the external world, if the gap between both of this is wide, Maya can play you a lot. If you want to come out of the clutches of Maya, live an authentic life. You project to the external world what you are. When you are doing that, Maya cannot play you as much. So give away this need to be special. Come out of this need to have a self image. There is no need to have a self image. Once you come out of this need, automatically you learn to deal with your moods. Now, your moods will not swing much because the triggers in your inner emotional body have been cleared. Your mind works in such a way that you are imagining a lot of things. Type 2 to type 4, they're very imaginative. Sometimes they can take up a past traumatic event and they can add on to that event with an extra story which has not occurred, and they relive that story also. So this inner storyteller has to go away. You have to not allow the inner storyteller to take control of your mind. You have to understand that there is a difference between the story and a fact. And as you all are very emotional, coming out of these emotions or clearing these emotions from the emotional body is very difficult. For that reason, you need to develop a little logic. When you start seeing the same situation through logic, you are more in control of your emotions. So, Enneagram type 2, 3, and 4 should move towards authenticity. They should look at their thoughts through the lens of truth. Then they will be more discerning in what they are entertaining in their mind. They should have more forgiveness for the wrongdoers, because when you forgive somebody, you are forgiven by the universe. And you must be able to incorporate certain amount of logic in your mind so that it can counterbalance the raging emotions that you're experiencing. When these Enneagram types 2 to 4 make these changes, they start living more in the present. When you're living in the present moment, you are not under the influence of your personality. Rather, you are looking into your values, your thoughts, your actions, they all stem from a place of values. So, whatever acts you do, they do not tie you to certain karmic outcomes. While you are in the present moment, you are not tied down by the lower egoic states of your personality. Rather, the personality is set aside to live from a higher state of existence. Type 5 to type 7, the thinking type. They have a chattering mind, they live in their head mostly, and the fears which they experience are all survival fears. The first type, that is the type 5 in this uh, head thinking type, is the thinker observer. The fear here manifests as the fear of something that is not known, or the fear of not having enough, or the fear of being incompetent. These people are mostly prone to take in as much as possible, that is, information wise. They think they have to learn more because they fear something that they do not know. They think that if they learn what it is, they'll be more comfortable in situation. They have a lot of radical ideas on society, government, the types of reforms, the kind of movements, people movements that have to happen. They enjoy a lot of these discussions. They sort of avoid the external world and they're more happy and they feel safe in their uh, place, a secure place where they can study and learn more. They think that people are stupid and they alone are intelligent, and that comes out very obviously in their actions. So they value their opinions highly when compared to others' opinions. They are not interested in small talk. They like to discuss big ideas. Most of the times they're lost in their own mind, in their own thoughts, and they are sort of disconnected from the external reality. They do not practically use those thoughts in application, or they do not participate in life as much as they need to. They see emotions separately from thoughts. The fear here is that they will not have enough to survive in the world. So these people are stingy. They want to hoard. They want to hoard money. They want to hoard resources. They want to hoard time, energy. They want to hoard it. And their need for privacy is very high. So they have this very big privacy bubble around them. The constantly chattering mind keeps them busy. So how does Maya play type 5? Maya plays type 5 by putting them into problem situations because of their radical ideas where they talk about it. They can fake knowledge and they come out as being imposters in public. That is how Maya plays them. They feel they can rebel against conventions and they get into problems because of it. They see others as stupid and they have this arrogance about them. So others do not like them. That way, others do not come forward to help them when they're in need. Money issues. They may trust somebody and that person may take their money and vanish overnight. So they get betrayed. They're ripped off their money or the resources. They lose them. They have this fear of being ridiculed. So they might have a partner in their life who's constantly ridiculing them. They cannot take that. When somebody enters their territory, they get frightened. They go into the defensive or offensive. The real transformation for type 5 occurs when they experience the inner silence of their mind. It puts them to peace. When they start enjoying this inner silence, the real transformation in their life starts happening. The affirmation for type 5 is I like to participate in life and I believe in abundance of all things. The more they start believing that there is abundance in this universe and abundance will flow to them, then they will see no reason why they have to be stingy with their time or knowledge or money or the energy they put in to help others. The life lesson that they have to learn is to be generous and to form a connection by participating in life with others. The path for type 5 is because they like knowledge, they can go on the path of knowledge. Because they do not connect much with their body or with people around, it is good that they participate in certain social activities, do martial arts or some kind of physical activity, and they learn to look at their emotions, connect emotionally within and with others around them. Silence will always benefit type 5. It will allow them to grow. It will keep fears out of their mind. Type 6. Type 6 fears the most is being alone. And they have trust issues. Whenever they meet a person, the first thought that crosses the mind of type 6 is, can I trust this person? Or can I trust this situation? Ego in type 6 is in the form of cowardice. They are constantly worried about their physical safety and the safety of their loved ones. So, in any environment, type 6 is always looking out for any risk situations because they want to minimize risk situations. They either trust a person or they do not trust a person. When I trust the person, they have blind faith in that person. Type 6 are a little rigid in the way they behave or they think because of their fear, they have formed fixed ways of living in this world. And any deviation from those fixed ways or known path causes a lot of anxiety in them. So they prefer to stick to known paths. They like to eat the same food every day. They can watch the same movie 30 times because they know what they're watching. They don't want to take risks in life. They go to the same hotel every day. So these are the people who are more comfortable doing the same thing every day because it minimizes risks. They need backup, they hoard things. A type 6 will save a lot of money because he wants to be prepared for the future. He does not like to be abandoned by others. So they will go to any extent to keep their loved ones with them. They have this fear of getting blamed for something that goes wrong. So they shift blame onto others. They can victimize others this way. They basically do not believe at a lower egoic level that there's a higher power. And this higher power will take care of them. They do not understand this. Oh, how does Maya play type 6? Maya can put them into unknown situations, unknown environment suddenly, where they have not yet built their paths of knowledge or they don't know how to work their way through that place. There can be a lot of survival issues. For example, they may lose their job, they may lose all their money, they may lose their loved ones. They don't know how to handle such situations. I've written more here about how Maya can play type 6. You can go through the list. Learning moment for type 6 will come when instead of giving in to their fears, if they try to overcome their fears, they learn to trust themselves more and understand that they're not the body, but they're the spirit that is in the body. They develop an inner dialogue and they learn to take decisions more effectively. This way, they become independent. They come out of this idea that they're this body and instincts. So, the affirmation for type 6 is that I am not the body and the instincts. The type 6 has to learn to be independent, courageous, and confident. A lower egoic type 6 can look like he is very fearful, or he may look like somebody who is very confident, but he's on the offensive, he's attacking others. This guise of being offensive to others is to cover up his own inner fear that he might be attacked by others. So either ways, it is fear, but it is presented differently to the world. So type 6 has to understand that he is not the body, he is the spirit. And the death of the body is not the death of the spirit. The spirit moves on to the next lifetime. When he understands that, then the limit of the physical body will not tie down the type 6. They become more grounded. They have this sense of security. So they will not worry about their safety or the safety of the loved ones. They can use affirmations when they're frightened, affirmations which will increase or boost their courage. They should surrender to a higher power like a guru or maybe a deity with whom they can connect at a personal level, a deity with a form, with a mantra, with a yantra. If they are doing that, if they're worshipping their deity and they develop a bond with the deity, it will help them because they have a first hand connection with the deity. And they should learn to question their fears. When they question their fears, they realize that most of those fears are unnecessary fears. Type 7, enthusiast, epicure. These people, they fear boredom. If you see a person constantly saying that they are bored, they're type 7. They don't like to deal with their emotional pain. In fact, they push away their emotional pain somewhere deep into the subconscious mind. They even forget that they have this pain locked inside them. They live life from a shallow sense of happiness. That is, there is this need, insatiable need to gratify themselves. So they go from one uh, in stimulation to another stimulation. So they're always planning for the next stimulation. Okay, today I'll go to a movie. Tomorrow maybe I'll hang out with my friends. In the evening I'll go for a party. So they need constant stimulations in their life. They are not very serious about what they do, so they can give up very easily. These people have the ability to learn many different subjects at the same time. They can talk about 10 different topics. They're very impressive that way, but they lack the focus to pursue one particular subject in depth. They're okay with everything. They don't mind anything. They seem very easygoing, very fun loving, and they have many fantasies. They have commitment issues. They don't want to be locked down with one person or about one place or one particular situation or only one kind of experience. They think there are a lot of experiences in this world, and all these experiences will keep them happy. They're searching for happiness because they're trying to suppress their inner emotional pain from coming out. And they can be very greedy. So here, the ego is in the form of greed. They are easily prone to addictions. They're very showy, very loud, and of course, they're great storytellers. So they can be the heart of a party. They do not feel satiated or they do not feel satisfied with what they have. So, how does Maya play type 7? Because they're into a lot of planning and they're seeking a lot of thrill in life, they will be overspending their energy, their money, their time. They cannot focus on the important things in life. They're seeking one stimulation after another stimulation, shallow relationships. They cannot commit to a long-standing relationship, or they cannot commit themselves to a kind of work which will help them evolve. They have commitment issues. They can have financial issues because they are overspending, and they can be pulled into vices. They lose interest in things very easily. Boredom takes on, and whatever is repressed inside, the pain might come to surface. They don't know how to deal with this. So this is how Maya plays them. It is very important for the type 7 to understand that being satisfied or being fulfilled is an internal state, and it is a natural state. Only thing that they have to do is slow down in life, look within, learn to deal with their pain, understand that they hold a lot of repressed pain, deal with that pain in the correct way, and see their inner truth. So they have to sober first. They have to ground themselves first. When they were in the lower egoic state, they would avoid bad experiences and indulge in pleasure seeking experiences. So, this division of the right and left brain was much higher. That is, avoid pain and seek gain. That was much higher in type 7. But once they move to an evolved state, they no longer differentiate between the painful experiences and the pleasure experiences. They learn to take in both the experiences with equanimity, and that helps to take them to a higher state of well-being. They're now more in tune with life. They're more in present moment because they're not thinking of avoiding pain or suppressing pain. Rather, they are facing their fears. The type 7 path for growth is meditation and inner silence. The three enneagrams, that is 5, 6, and 7, which think a lot, for them, meditation and silence is very important. Type 7 like to travel, so they can go for a pilgrimage because they repress a lot of their pain and their trauma, their fears. They go deep inside the subconscious mind. So they need to pull them out. And they can do this by trying out various inner healing methods. They have to sober up and they have to learn to live a simple life and stop seeking stimulation. When they do this, they are at the level of spiritual maturation. These Enneagram types 5, 6, 7, they're more future oriented. Because of fears, they're more worried about what will happen in the future to them. And these fears, they surface as mental chatter, constant mental chatter. They're trying to figure out things. They have a lot of doubts. They have a lot of anxiety about what is going to happen in future. In case something goes wrong, they have a strategy to cope with these situations, and they're anticipating something bad will happen. So these kind of anticipations put them into much more fearful state. So what is the mindset they need to have to overcome this? First thing is they have to learn to quieten their mind. Their constant chattering mind is what is causing them the trouble. They have to connect with their inner voice, the voice that helps them through guidance, higher intuition, wisdom. They have to connect with that voice inside. They should know that they are supported by the universe and they need not fear unnecessarily. When they understand that, they are more grounded, they are more open to the future moments. They can plan and they can stop worrying about what is going to happen. When they are in this mode, they come into the present moment. Once a person is operating from the present moment, he does not operate from a personality type. He is now operating from what is right, what is wrong. That is a set of values. Of course, the higher aspect of the personality may get expressed to this person, but this person is not under the control or ruled by his thoughts or emotions or memories or his past experiences. Type A to type 1 Enneagram, they are the gut or the instinct people. They have a lot of aggression and they need to control the external situation is very high. And when they can control it or when they cannot control it, the aggression expresses itself in different ways, either in a more expressive way or in a more repressed way. Firstly, let's see type 8, leader challenger. The ego here is in the form of revenge. A personality which we take over many lifetimes. It even shapes our physical appearance. So, generally, who are of type 8 personality, they will be having a very domineering physique. Maybe if you look at their family, their body type 8 person will be having a more bigger body, a more domineering body compared to others in his family. The need to control the external situation is much high in type 8. They are very independent minded. They want to protect themselves and people around them. They need to control people. They need to control the situation. And for this, they can go to any extent. That is, they do not respect others' need for privacy, or they do not respect boundaries. They can be insensitive. They can be abusive towards others. They can be sarcastic. They look at others in a bad light. It is only when you look at others in a bad light you can uh, attack them, or you need to control them. So the basic idea about people around them or the situation around them is that it is bad. They're very arrogant and dismissive of others' ideas or others. They're prone to a lot of rage, violence. These people have a lot of willpower to achieve what they want to achieve. And they cannot resist challenges. They cannot love. They're very lustful people. They can make a lot of empty promises. They don't believe in keeping their word. They're very thick skinned. And when they see somebody who's sensitive, they see them as losers or as weak people. They don't like to be vulnerable. They do not want the other person or the external world to see their vulnerabilities. These people have to understand that what happens externally is the divine will and not their will. When they understand this, real transformation starts happening. They don't have to play power plays, or they don't have to go and challenge somebody bigger than them and get into problems. They don't have to destroy the relationship. They don't have to abuse or control people and situations. When they understand this, it is life changing for them. They have a tendency to justify their bad acts because they inherently think or see themselves in a very positive image, whereas the world around them is a bad place, so it needs to be controlled. People are bad, so they need to be punished. They get easily caught up in this game, that is the perpetrator, rescuer, and the victim dynamic is played a lot in their life. They can make some big enemies in their life because of their temperament issues. The type 8 has to develop certain amount of tenderness, sensitivity. He should accept his own vulnerabilities. He must have the courage to look within, to see that his own weaknesses are getting projected onto the external world. He is hiding behind this strong barrier which he has created, or the strong image that he has created to the external world to hide his weaknesses. He has to learn to forgive and forget. He has to give up the need to hold grudge, the need to take revenge, and he should learn to trust people around him, because type 8 does not trust anybody. Even if there's somebody very loyal to them, they will still keep on testing their loyalty. The affirmation for type 8 is it is okay to be vulnerable. The biggest lesson for type 8, and which is the most difficult, is to accept the external reality as it is. They must be able to see that the external reality is a creation of the divine, and the divine will is what happens externally. They should learn to surrender to a higher power. They're so independent minded, they don't like to surrender in front of a person. So they should learn to surrender to a higher force, maybe a guru or God. Once they evolve from these lower egoic qualities, they have the innocence of a child in them. They have a big heart, and they really evolve into these strong people. Their inner strength is so huge that now they don't need to display it to the external world. They keep their inner strength to themselves, and they give up the need to control the external situation or another person. The path for them is meditation, silence. Because they need to develop some sensitivity, it is good that they get a pet or they spend more time in nature. Surrender to a able guru or to God. Type 9, peacemaker, mediator. The ego here is in the form of a kind of laziness. I won't call it laziness also, but it is more in terms of postponing things or not deciding over things. Because of that, they lose out on a lot of opportunities in life. These people want to make peace with everybody and everything around them. And they don't like to be cut off from their family or from their friend circle, because that means that they are part of them is destroyed. They will go to any extent to make peace with external situation or with people. Here, aggression is repressed. It is passive aggressive behavior. They're at a lower egoic level, they're judgmental. They look at the world as right and wrong. They have their own inner emotional fantasies and they retreat into it. They don't have a strong sense of identity. Because they do not have a strong sense of identity, they look at another person who's in their life who has a strong sense of identity, and they try to live their life in the shadow of this person. Sometimes this can be their life partner. So they come out as doormats or a henpecked husband. They have this false sense of spirituality. They think that they are spiritually superior to others around them, and hence they can advise others as to how they should behave. They have the moral right to judge somebody as good or somebody as bad. But in general, they are very optimistic. They do not want to see the dark side of life. They are out of touch with their self. That is the main problem here. There is no strong sense of self. And whatever belief systems they have, they're basically taken on from the society or the culture. So they keep on repeating like a parrot the norms of the family or the community or the culture or the society, the do's and don'ts. They keep on talking about that on and on, again and again. They cannot cut themselves from those cultural values or cultural norms. They do not experience emotions totally. There's a kind of emotional flatness within them. They cannot follow through. For example, if somebody wants to go on a diet, uh, they have to follow through a program where they cut down the amount of food they take, then they have to exercise, and this has to be done over maybe many weeks before they can start losing weight. But type 9 is too lazy to follow through, and they give up easily. They cannot fix themselves to goals or schedules. It is difficult for them. They have a very routine, lazy type life. And generally, type 9, because of their peaceful nature and because they want to be at peace, they have good relationships with people around them. It is more of a social circle, a happy social circle. And they're very accommodating that way. What a type 9 has to understand is they generally think that they are not worth good things in life. They efface themselves. They think they're not very important. They are not good enough to be noticed by somebody. So if there's a party happening, you will see a type 9 sitting very quietly at a corner. He does not want to get any attention onto himself. They do not indulge in good things in life because they feel that they are not worth it. So firstly, type 9 has to build the confidence that he is worth being noticed, he is worth being talking his mind, he is worth facing life. So how does Maya play type 9? Because a type 9 person cannot say no and he's trying to make peace with everybody, he will attract more personality disorder people into his life, like narcissists. These narcissists, they trouble the type 9 person all his life and they suck all the life energy out of them. Type 9 person has to learn to take care of himself. He should understand that he is worth the maintenance of his physical body and he should engage actively in understanding his emotions, his inner aggression. He should channel it properly outside instead of repressing it. He should give up the fake uh, act of spirituality without actually indulging in any spiritual practices. He should first check whether he is following the values which he preaches. He should develop a sense of identity here, where he is using his mind to think through in situations instead of taking on others' ideas and others' opinions and making them his own. He should learn to say no, set boundaries, and he should learn to face conflict instead of trying to run away from it. When he does all this, the change starts in that person because Maya troubles him like this. With when he does not have a sense of self, he attracts a lot of negative people into his life who create trouble in his life and take the peace out of his life. So, as long as he is not facing his fears, he is repressing his anger, and he does not cultivate a sense of self, he will not progress spiritually. So, the affirmation for him is it is okay to be angry because type 9 thinks it is not right to express anger or aggression. So they repress it. Instead of repressing, once they start expressing their anger, they set boundaries, they speak assertively, they learn to say no when they are being taken advantage by a narcissist. They start evolving. And the more they evolve, they cultivate real inner peace now. And not only that, they come out of their judgments. Earlier, they were looking at people as good and bad. They understand that there is good mixed in bad and bad mixed in good. So they are no longer judgmental of the people or the external situations. The path for these people is pray to a deity because they do not have a strong sense of self. If they connect to a deity, the deity will help them to create a strong sense of self. They should understand how to channel their pain, their anger properly instead of repressing it. They should come out of all the social uh, belief systems that they've taken on, cultural belief systems they've taken on, the various norms, the do's and don'ts. They have to come out of all that. And they have to engage in some kind of physical activity. Enneagram type 1, reformer, perfectionist. Here, the ego is in form of resentment. They think that they're very righteous, they're the perfect person or the role model for the perfect person. They do this because they inherently feel that they lack something. To cover that up, they appear very disciplined, very perfect. Everything is perfect in the house. They exercise, they eat right, they live a very perfect life. So they think they can correct others. They want perfection outside of them. They want people to be perfect. If something is not seen as correct, they cannot tolerate it. So you will see them constantly complaining. They will be preaching you, they will be giving you free advices. They have lot of opinions. They don't care whether they're stepping boundaries. They have a very fixed, rigid personality, and they're very predictable. They are prone to outbursts when things don't go their way. They follow rules rigidly, law, and when others don't do it, they get very angry. And they somehow do not like the various body functions. So they're generally very stressed in life. And if they do not live up to their perfection, they are not kind to themselves. And when others do not live up to their perfection, they are not kind to others. In doing all this, they are avoiding their own inner dark side. Once they start looking within, once they start seeing that they're being critical towards themselves and to others around them because they have set very high standards in life, and this is what is causing stress to them and to others around them, they start changing. They move away from stress, and the life lesson they learn is to be patient and to live with grace. The affirmation for them is, I accept the good and bad within me, because type 1 has the mindset that differentiates things into bad and good. Very tight demarcations. This is bad, this is good. They have to first come out of that. They have to see that everything is in perfection within them and in the external universe. When a person lives from the lower egoic state, he sees a lot of imperfections within him, and he sees a lot of imperfections in the external reality. But when a person is living from a very deeper state of wisdom, a very deeper state of spirituality, he can see perfection even in the worst scenarios. That is because he understands that everything happens for a reason, good or bad. If something bad is happening, there is a karma that is attached for that event to unfold, and something good is happening, there is a certain karma attached to that event, and that is why that event is unfolding. In the same way, everything in this universe, there's a continuum between good and bad. The entire drama you see in the outside world is just moving from one end of the continuum, that is the good end, to the bad end, from the bad end to the good end. As long as a person is moving between these two ends, the drama of life continues. Once he stops running between these two ends, he's at the neutral point and he looks at both the ends. He can see both the ends from the neutral point. he does not differentiate anything as good or bad. He has evolved spiritually, and that is the path for type 1. So here he starts seeing perfection in creation. Because of it, he gets connected with the inner bliss, the joy or the happiness of having a higher connection with God, and is filled with peace. Now he becomes the epitome of perfection which a human can reach. So the path for type 1 is mantra chanting, worship of a deity, taking an oath of silence, surrendering. Mostly type 891, they need to surrender to a higher power. That way, they will progress faster. These Enneagram types 891, they live in resistance of the present moment. As long as they are in resistance of the present moment, they want to control the outside event, they are angry with the outcome. They are in a defensive mode or an offensive mode. They're constantly complaining about what is happening, or they're angry that something is not happening as per their requirement. So they will negate the external situation or the people in it, or they will numb their experiences so that they don't have to look at them. And these people have very strong boundaries, but they do not respect others' boundaries. But type 9 has loose boundaries, which he has to build. When he is in resistance, he is not living in the present. So, what is the path for type 8, 9, and 1? First thing is they have to learn to relax. They have to learn to open up and accept their vulnerabilities. They have to connect with life. They have to learn to accept themselves and accept the outside events, the people, the situations. They have to understand that inner strength does not mean controlling the external environment. They have to move away from controlling to acceptance. And when they form a very deep relationship within, they start sensing things even before they unfold in their external environment. No matter which personality type you belong to, once you spiritually evolve in that personality type, at the culmination of your spiritual maturity, you will be able to follow the yamas and niyamas very easily. So, what are the yamas and what are the niyamas? These are the basics of the Ashtanga Yoga, the things which a person should do and the things a person should not do. A student of the Ashtanga Yoga should have these qualities within him. Otherwise, he is not a perfected soul. The niyamas, that is the things that the person should follow, is cleanliness. Cleanliness of body, keeping your home clean, the environment clean, your inner mind clutter free. He should be content with what he has. He should have some form of a spiritual practice. He should read scriptures. He should have this zeal to learn. And then he should be able to surrender to a higher power. These are the niyamas. What are the yamas? It is the things which he should not do. Things which he should not do is he should not be cruel to himself or to people around him or to nature in general. He should not lie. He should not steal. He should be a celibate and he should not be greedy. No matter which path you may evolve through, but the end of every personality type is the essence of that personality type, which is a sattvic in nature. And when you reach that level, you'll be able to follow Yamanimas very easily. Maybe you are already practicing it in your life without knowing that you are following Yamaniyamas. It becomes easier for them. For people who are generally still living in their lower egoic nature, practicing Yamaniyamas is difficult. That is the difference between the person who is operating from a lower egoic state caught up in Maya and somebody who is trying to grow beyond Maya and perfect his personality. When he is perfecting his personality, he will be able to, with little to no effort, follow the Yama and Niyamas. In today's module, I spoke about how the personality is affected by the Maya and how we can work through our weaknesses, build our strength, and what we can achieve or what we can become when we put an effort to change ourselves. I hope this module was uh, beneficial to you. In case you could relate to what I've said here, please do leave some comments in the section. Thank you.